Hey, comic lovers, EMoney and the old man here. So, hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you didn't, eat too much or drink too much, and didn't, get killed on Black Friday as well. Hope your holiday season is having a good start so far. All right, so what are we talking about today? Well, we are talking about a lot of fun things going on at Marvel, mostly. In fact,
Seems like it's always Marvel.
Yeah, all three stories are Marvel related, so we're going to be talking about all that. A lot of fun stuff happening at Marvel Studios. One not so fun thing, but hey, we'll get to that in a second. Also, we have our comic reviews and previews, and we have a lot of really cool stuff happening in the sales department in the next few weeks. We're going to be doing some cool stuff on Whatnot, and we got a big convention coming up in the next week or so. All right, so before we get started, this is EMoney saying, get over here, Zarg nuts! Also, this is Back Issues. Alright, so before we get started today, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, give us a thumbs up, and if you like, leave us a comment. You can put in your 2 cents on any of these stories, or you can just say hi. Or
you can even put your nickels worth in.
Yeah. Alright, so first up, if you have not watched the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, you might want to skip ahead a little bit, but also you should, watch it. Alright, so a lot of people have been wondering how Nebula managed to get that gift for Rocket at the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special conclusion. Well, director James Gunn has kind of offered up an explanation. So at the end of the special, as if you watch it, you know, Nebula uncharacteristically offers Rocket a gift, and when he opens it, it's revealed to be Bucky's metallic arm. And a lot of people have been wondering how and when Nebula managed to cross paths with Bucky, and more importantly, how she got the arm. Well, one fan even said on Twitter, Bucky defeats Nebula. There's no way she stole his arm. Has no sense. Like the whole Phase 4. Pure forced inclusion of crap. Well, Gunn responded to that tweet with, I'm not sure how a cyborg with advanced alien technology tearing off a human's arm because of an overabundance of Christmas spirit is forced inclusion, but now it's canon. Sorry. So, I don't think that's really an explanation.
Yeah, and I don't think she tore his arm off.
No. I mean, basically that's Gunn saying, well, I did it, so get over it.
Yeah, I mean, Bucky's had at least 2 arms.
Mm-hmm.
So she found the one he's not using.
I mean, one person on online said that this was the one that the Condons gave him, which I thought he was still using. So I don't know how she got it away from him. And also, is it going to be mentioned the next time we see Bucky? That's the real question.
I'd like some resolution.
Yeah.
I don't have to have it.
Right. So, one thing I was talking to you about the other day was, why would Nebula give Rocket a gift of all people? And then I remembered that the two of them have been through a lot together. Because you remember during the blip when everyone else was dead and it was just Nebula and Rocket, I mean, they traveled a lot of the galaxy together. They, based on what they told us in Endgame, they disrupted slave trade routes together and helped a lot of people. So it would make sense that Nebula's bond with Rocket is deeper than anything she has with the other Guardians. So, the fact that you kind of included that in the special, good on you, Gunn.
I mean, also they have a few things in common, like they've both basically been tortured.
Right. I mean, they both been through similar things in their traumas when they were younger. So yeah. All right. So. Would like to see it talked about next time we see Bucky, but we'll see. A lot of times, directors in the MCU, as much as we would like, they don't always, coordinate these sort of things.
There's so much stuff going on, there's bound to be a few balls dropped.
Right. Like in, at the beginning of Thor Love and Thunder, I mean, the director, he put the Guardians in that as little as possible. It's like, he knew that it happened at the end of Endgame, them going off together. So, he made sure they were in there, but didn't keep them around for long. All right. So, next up is a story, kind of, Twitter, you know, people shooting their mouth off.
Are there any spoilers in this?
No, not really.
Oh, hang on. Spoilers are over. Come back. Hit it.
So, if you've been on social media lately, you know filmmaker Quentin Tarantino has recently drawn a lot of heat when he complained about the Marvelization of Hollywood and how he considers Marvel actors to not be real movie stars. Well, Quentin's old friend Samuel L. Jackson had a few things to say about that. So, Samuel, who, as you know, has worked with Tarantino a number of times and is also a big part of the MCU, says that he has a different view of what constitutes a movie star. And this is Samuel saying, it takes an actor to be those particular characters. And the sign of movie stardom has always been what? Asses in seats? What are we talking about? That's not a big controversy for me to know that apparently these actors are movie stars. Chadwick Boseman is Black Panther. You can't refute that. So, he's a movie star. And finally, wrapping up that story, I mean, it's just, the fact that you would, shoot your mouth off like that, and then, knowing that you're so close with Samuel and who's an integral part of the MCU. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but, just know that you're going to, tick off some people that you're close to probably.
Tarantino don't care.
Right. All right, so finally, Hugh Jackman is revealing how the ball got rolling on him returning to the role of Logan for the upcoming Deadpool 3, saying he wasn't lying when he said that he was done after Logan all those years ago. As explained by Jackman, he truly meant those words when he said them, but he realized he probably shouldn't have made that commitment when he was watching the first Deadpool soon after. And this is Hugh Jackman saying, well, I was 20 minutes into watching Deadpool, and I had just announced literally a few weeks before that Logan was going to be my last, which I fully intended, but then I was like, uh-oh. So the actor had a revelation when he finally got some time off from performing during a run of The Music Man on Broadway in mid-August. Jackman says it was all he could think about when taking a drive during that week off, leading to a phone call made to his old pal to start the process. And this is Hugh Jackman again. It came to me like, I really want to do that. And that was it. As soon as I arrived at the beach, I rang Ryan just to see what the hell was going on. And then, here we are. It was so quick, and trust me, there's not a morning I don't wake up where Ryan Reynolds is outside my house and posters saying, please. He's constantly asking me about it, and I was like, dude, I'm done. So then when he rang me back, he was like, are you serious? So, yeah. And the rest, they say, is history.
Will be history.
Right. So, I'm glad he had that moment of clarity while driving to the beach that day.
Well, I'll let you know if it's a good thing or not.
Right.
Sooner or later.
I mean, I'd hate to think... there's a lot of movies out there where it's like, the franchise ended perfectly and then it just kept going. Like Toy Story. A lot of people thought, Toy Story 3 should have been the end, and then they kept going. So hopefully that's not the case here.
Well,
where he should have ended on Logan and then he keeps going.
If Deadpool can survive Disney,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that could be the biggest problem.
Right.
Then, Wolverine being in a Deadpool movie would just be gravy.
Right. All right. So I'm not crossing my fingers because I'm fairly confident, but I'm cautious going forward with Deadpool 3 and Logan. All right, so that is going to do it for today's entertainment news stories. If you have any opinions or insight you want to share about them, let us know in the comments. All right, so let's get to those comic book reviews. All right, so first up is our mentions. And what do we have first here, old man?
All right, well, this is going to get intense. Watch out. So first up, I'm just going to hand him the comic book and let him take off with it and watch out for the shrapnel.
All right, everyone, I present to you your recycling paper of the week. Doctor Strange, Full Sunrise. And
Did you say full?
I'm sorry, Fall Sunrise.
Fall
sorry.
Sunrise.
All right, so everything about this is terrible, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so the artistry is just...
Hang on. Tradd Moore, who both wrote it and drew it, it's not personal. It's not.
Okay. So the artistry is just horrendous. So Doctor Strange finds himself in a mirror dimension or something, and he's trying to remember who he is, and find his way out of here. And I guess artist is trying to be pretty, and it just looks horrible all around. There are some times where I can't tell what's going on because everything is so ugly.
Yep. My definition of good comic book art has today and has always been, if you can read the comic book without having to study a panel, if you understand what's going on, it's okay art. It might not be great, but it's okay. It's supposed to tell a story. If you have to stare at it and study it, that's bad art.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go back to look at it because you found it to be interesting or beautiful or fun to look at, that's great art. So this is not the great art.
And the writing is pretty terrible as well. It's like it's trying to be poetry at times, and it just comes off as confusing and what the heck is going on here. So it's pretty terrible all around. So don't waste your money if you haven't already. Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise will not be getting it again.
We're done with that one.
And it comes in at
a whopping 2 shields after we rounded it up.
So 2 shields out of 5.
I honestly think that's our lowest score to date.
It's pretty bad.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, next up.
All right. This is one that you started liking. You actually picked up on the last issue, and I wasn't as convinced, but I think I'm sold now. But this is from Dynamite, Siren's Gate, #2.
Okay. So here we have, we go from some of the worst artwork I've ever seen to some of the best right here with Siren's Gate.
Shannon Mayer also wrote it and did the artwork.
Okay. So what happens here is our hero, who is a girl who works as a bartender at a strip club, she discovers the world.
Sounds like my hero.
The world beyond our own, which is full of vampires and sorcerers and other dark supernatural things, and she has a lot of people gunning for her, both humans and otherwise. So she needs to learn to take care of herself really fast, which she has not learned how to do yet. But also she doesn't know who to trust, because there's all these people who are showing her and telling her different things, and she's not sure what to believe yet. So the artwork is just pretty amazing in this overall, and the story is the story's getting me. It's improving with from the first issue to this one, and hopefully we'll continue on that trend. So Siren's Gate #2 ends up with
3.5.
3.5 out of 5. All right, that brings us to our last mention this week.
From Image Comics, we have 8 Billion Genies, #6 of 8. Now, normally this cracks the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
So either the top 3 was real good, or this isn't quite as good as it has been.
Or maybe it has stiffer competition.
Like I said.
Right. All right, so 8 Billion Genies. This is pretty far into the world after G-Day, when the Genies first showed up.
Yeah, they jumped some time.
Yeah. So this is about 4 years into G-Day. And we're following some of our heroes around, the band that we first met up with in the first issue. And 2 of them still have their genies. And still having a genie at this point is a pretty hot commodity.
Well, they say that the reason they still have them is because they spend hours and hours trying to think of the perfect wish,
Mm-hmm.
but they can't come up with it. Every time they're about to make a wish, they're like, oh, that's not good enough. And they actually give it a word, what that's called.
And you really have to like word it perfectly in this world now because if you don't say it just right, it could be misconstrued or misinterpreted, and you don't really get the spirit of what you want from the genies. So they're sitting around a campfire, and somebody starts shooting at them. And the reason is that a lot of people believe that genies destroyed the world, which they kind of did. So anybody who still has a genie, they perceive as a threat and needs to be put down. So they're shooting down. And one thing you learn about genies is if you still have one, even without using your wish, they can be pretty helpful.
Yep.
Because they'll do a lot of stuff for you without you using your wish.
They'll answer questions. They'll fetch stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty handy.
Right. I mean, you could ask them, what's so and so doing right now, and they'll tell you exactly where they are and what they're doing. And in this case, when they're being shot at, they ask their genie, can you fly up and get bright, like really bright? And he's like, sure thing. And he creates like a kind of like a solar flare or a flare from a flare gun, something like that shorts out their attacker's night vision and gives them a chance to get away.
I mean, if you're wearing night vision goggles and somebody hits you in the face with a flashlight, that's bad enough.
Right.
But having a sun go off right in front of me, that's oof.
Right. So he did all that without even having to use his wish. So yeah, I mean, if you still have the genie, I would, keep it around for as long as you can.
I'd never make my wish.
Right. Unless you have no other choice but to do so. So our heroes are trying to get to a safe haven. And safe haven are places where, people are protected from, the destruction that a lot of wishes have caused the world over the years. And, there's a few of them out there, but a lot of them are warring with other safe havens. So they have to play, because they're a band, they have to audition to try to get into this safe haven. And in this safe haven, it is a floating city on top of a flying giant whale on top of a starship. So I mean, that sounds like a couple of wishes strewn together.
It does.
Right. So it's interesting to see how their audition goes. So 8 billion genies, number 6 of 8. It's starting to wind down here a bit. And that ends up with
3.5 after we rounded it up.
3.5 shields out of 5. All right, so that is our mentions for this week. Now on to our top 3.
All righty. Coming in at number 3, we've got Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil number 5.
All right, so in this issue, Matt and Elektra, both Daredevil, are the new heads of the Fist. And they're on a mission about what they hope to do with this newfound power. And there's a mention of Punisher in here as being the new head of the Hand. And if you saw the last issue of the Punisher, you know that Daredevil confronted him about that. So they need some people that are in this floating prison for supervillains. And so the Fist and Daredevil, they launch a mission to break some of these prisoners out of there. Well, they get onto the island, and who should be their the head jailer but the U.S. agent, a.k.a. John Walker. So he confronts Daredevil and some of the other guards in a corridor, and I like this quote from Daredevil here. He says, "You headed up the Thunderbolts during Fisk's final days. Is this where your heart lies, throwing in with fascists? If you come with me, maybe I can save you." And Walker's like, "I don't need saving. I'm right with God." To which Daredevil replies, "If you were," and then he, shuts off all the lights, "he wouldn't have sent the devil." So I don't know if I always have a badass quote of the week, but I'm counting that one.
Okay.
So I don't think John Walker is a super soldier in the comic books. Is that?
I don't think so. I think he's just a very well-trained athlete.
So Walker and Daredevil have themselves a bit of a throwdown.
Which ain't fair. Especially when you turn the lights out.
All right. So I don't want to tell you how it ended, but it was definitely interesting. So Daredevil number 5, our number 3 spot for this week with...
We rounded it up to 4 shields.
4 shields out of 5.
Next up, one of my favorite Batman books. And I think we've had this in our top 3 pretty much every issue. But this is Batman Fortress number 7.
All right. So in this issue, Batman and his motley crew of people, I don't want to say heroes because Lex Luthor is in this group.
Well, there's several of them that are borderline.
Mm-hmm. And they are making their way through Superman's Fortress of Solitude, trying to try to find some technology that might help them in their battle against the aliens that have attacked Earth, and also trying to find out what happened to Superman. So they're making their way through booby trap after booby trap, and I like this line from Luthor in here, where at one point they find themselves in a room with all these portals opened up side by side. Some of them lead into the Phantom Zone, others, or one, leads them where they want to go. And they're trying to figure out which one, and Luthor can't decipher what the difference is between any of them. And one of the other guys in the group comments, so much for him not being smart, because Luthor made a crack at Superman in the last issue about how everything is enhanced about him through the yellow sun except his brain. So then Luthor kind of backtracks here and says, I never said he wasn't smart. I said he wasn't as smart as me. Big difference. But then he says he doesn't know which portal to go through, so, you know. So then later on, we learn some interesting revelations about Superman's, or I should say Kal-El's lineage back on Krypton. And
don't give that away. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think it would bode well if word got out about all that back on Earth.
No.
And since Luthor heard it, that's bad news. So what Batman's going to do about that, we'll see. Maybe in the next issue. So Batman Fortress number 7 ends up at our number 2 spot with 4 shields out of 5.
One of the reasons it got 4 shields is it's got excellent art.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the artist is Derek Robertson. And you know what we know Derek Robertson from?
Space Bastards.
No. From Space Bastards.
Okay.
Always loved any book of that title that he did.
That's what I do whenever we auction off one of our Captain Power action figures on Whatnot.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. He
All
says,
right.
Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. I say no. Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future.
See, when I do stuff like that, it's cool. When he does it, he's just being silly. At any rate,
Okay.
ready to talk about a little bit of Mr. Danny Gates?
All right.
I'm sorry.
Is it
it's
Donnie?
Donnie Cates.
Yeah.
Not Danny Gates. Jeez. Oh, you can tease me about that.
Okay.
It's an old man thing. But from Image, we have probably my favorite book that's 3 issues or less, and that's Vanish.
Okay. So if you've been reading Vanish, at this point you should know that our, I don't want to say hero, but our main character.
Protagonist.
Yeah. He is from a different world, a magical world, and he was enrolled in a magic school many years ago. And this, big bad dude, Lord Voldemort type, came to school, killed his headmaster, and said that he was going to pretty much take over the school and enlist all of the students into his war. And our hero pretty much, he took a gun and he shot him. What's all your magic do then? Not much. Kind of reminded me of Dresden. When magic fails, use a gun. So now he is in our world, and a lot of people who threw in with the big baddie all those years ago
They're here too.
have made their way into our world and are masquerading as superheroes.
That's a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah.
Be a villain, but pretend you're a superhero so that everybody loves you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, maybe they legitimately save people. I don't know. All right, so he's fighting two of them I think he's in Central Park. One of them is a speedster. The other one has a kind of an interesting power. You don't hear this one too often.
I'm not sure how useful it is. I mean, I'll take the speed any day.
Right. He can conjure and control nanoscopic razor wire with his mind. You could walk through one of them singing a song and not know until the wind blew you in half.
So yes, he could take out the speedster.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know how useful that power is when you're trying to be a superhero. I mean, a villain for sure. But superhero, I mean, I guess you could, tie up bad guys with that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He ties up our boy.
Mm-hmm. So it makes for a pretty interesting fight scene. Him fighting these two superpowered people, and later on we get a little preview as to the next issue and his next, his next gauntlet challenge. And this one, and also he gets a visit from an old friend in the final panel. All right, so Vanish number 3 ends up at our number 1 spot with 4 shields out of 5. All right, so what's coming up this week, old man?
All right, well, it's the 5th week of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you've been in comic books for a long time, you know that basically means a short week. And maybe some annuals. But for us, the only annual we're getting is Detective. But there's some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's Planet Hulk World Breaker. Avengers Assemble number 1. The Avengers books have been real iffy lately. It's kind of see what happens. But the main thing I'm looking forward to is Justice Society of America number 1. Every run of Justice Society that I've read was good. It was always very good. I like the team because you don't know as much about them as you do Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you know about Mr. Terrific? Not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Fate, even though he's finally got some silver screen time, he's still a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that more than any of them.
All right, so have all those given to your local comic book shop now. All right, now let's take a look at some of the sales the old man and I are going to be up to in the next few weeks. All right, so what are EMoney and the old man up to for the next few weeks? Well, we have our Whatnot auction coming up this Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Pretty much every Sunday.
Right, for the foreseeable future. And we're going to have, we're fulfilling a couple of requests. Last Monday, when I did our Buy It Now stream, somebody asked about Spawn figures. So we're going to throw in a few Spawn figures in there as well. And we're going to have Marvel Legends. We're going to have some DC items, Batman stuff. And, right, all kinds of fun stuff. So also, Tuesday, December the 6th, we are going to be doing our Whatnot stocking stuffer auction. So a lot of our smaller items are going to be auctioned off. We're going to throw in some die-cast things, some mini-mates is what it's called. They're kind of like Lego figures from Marvel. We're going to throw those in there and a few other things here and there. So a lot of fun stuff to put into your stockings for Christmas.
We're going to do any McDonald's Happy Meal toys.
Yeah, we're going to throw in some McDonald's stuff as well. All right, so all kinds of fun stocking stuffers. And on December 10th, join us at Louisville Con. And it's going to be a fun convention going to have, and going to be a lot of dealers in the area. And we're going to be selling our comic books, a lot of stuff from our toy inventory that we don't usually sell on Whatnot because it's so big to ship. And we're going to be, you're going to have Josef Rubinstein as a guest there. And,
Joseph!
Yep. Who made a lot of contributions to comic books, but one of the more notable ones was Frank Miller's Wolverine, which he was a big part of. So you know, a lot of stuff for him that you could have him sign, and you know, a lot of other great guests. So be sure to join us December 10th in specifically J-Town for Louisville Con. All right, so that's what EMoney and the Old Man are going to be doing for the next few weeks. All right, I think that is going to wrap things up here for today's show. So be sure to leave us a comment, subscribe, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We're inching closer every week or so.
Inching.
Yeah. So we're still not quite there yet, but hope you can help us out with that, and you know, sign up to Whatnot and give us a follow. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Excelsior.
True believers, remember, EMoney and the Old Man don't just sell toys and comic books. We also purchase them. So if you have a collection you're looking to get rid of, maybe raise a little Christmas money, there's our email address right there. You can get a hold of us. We're easy to find.
Yep.